What's going on, guys? This month, I'm going to do a new segment that I'm going to call SPOOKsquatch with Yeti Roosevelt. I am going to do my damnedest to review a horror movie every day in October. Whether that be from memory or watching it again and reviewing it like I have tonight. For my first episode, I wanted to do something that's very, very iconic, but I don't hear people excessively talk about. So I decided to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, Little Guy means a lot to me. I watched this movie too young, I will say. My dad let me watch horror movies as long as there wasn't like anything explicitly sexual in the movie. Dad let me watch it. He didn't care how much gore there was, how much swearing there was, nothing. As long as there wasn't nudity, he let me watch it. So I had already seen a few big time horror movies by the time I watched Texas Chainsaw. I know for a fact I saw Poltergeist and John Carpenter's The Thing. But I saw this in either 4th or 5th grade. I think 4th grade, so I was 9 when I saw Texas Chainsaw. The original movie, I believe, was 1973. I should have looked that up beforehand. I think it's 1973. And it's incredible. How much... First of all, it's paced extraordinarily well. It's paced unlike any other horror movie I've ever seen. The first 20 minutes... First of all, it's only an hour and 23 minutes long. It's really short. And the first, 20 minutes is setting tone. And then the next hour is just a nightmare. It is just living hell for these characters. And it starts right away. As soon as shit hits the fan, it's there. And it's constant. Leatherface is a very iconic villain. Obviously, he was in Mortal Kombat 10. He's a mainstay at this point. But the thing with this movie, and I noticed it big time because I literally just watched it. I got done with it 10 minutes ago. There's barely any gore in this movie. It's very tame. The whole movie is rife with stress. You're going to be anxious and stressed the entire time. But there's no gore. Everything is implied. Even my girlfriend said that. She can't handle gore at all. And she watched this whole movie. She was scared the whole time. And she was moving and twitching and talking because she was nervous and scared. But she watched the whole thing. And gore is what makes her want to stop watching. And for this movie to be as horrifying as it is, without showing much at all. Everything is implied. You know exactly what happens, but they do not show it. It's insanely good. I don't know. I keep wanting to go into detail. I guess I will. So spoilers from this point on. It's a group of 5 kids are going down to Texas I think it's to check out a grave, because the graves get defiled, and this girl's like, oh, my grandpa's buried there. I want to see if his grave was touched or not. But then they make it seem like they went for other reasons. Why they're going on this trip is not important. But they go on this trip, and they want to see an old family house or a place that they used to hang out when they were kids. And they go there, and there's just a crazy man with a big hammer and a mask made out of human skin. And he just gets these people one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it gets down to the final girl, who is honestly probably the best final girl in horror movies that I can think of right now. I'm sure that there's more that will refresh as I watch more movies this month. But she's amazing. You follow her for like probably 35, 40 minutes, just her. And she makes a lot of dumb decisions. She gets by through a lot of things on luck. But that's what makes this special, is because like you are unknowingly going to put yourself in that situation. And you're going to be like, what would I have done in this situation? And all you could do is what she does, which is run. She doesn't know where she's going to go. She doesn't know what she's going to do, but she's running. And it's so intense. It's unbelievably intense. And I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere before that the chainsaw was real. Like, to get a fake chainsaw would have been more money than to get a real one, and just be careful. So that's what they did. Tobe Hooper made this movie on basically a shoestring budget. He did not. This movie cost like nothing to make, and it's made gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of money. Because basically everyone that likes horror likes this movie. I feel like it's untouchable. I think there's 3 more sequels to the original movie. The 4th one is especially bad. They're all pretty bad sequels anyway. But the 4th one with Matthew McConaughey is especially bad. And then there were the Michael Bay remakes. I'm pretty sure they were Michael Bay remakes in the like mid 2000s. And the first one was okay. It was like a perfectly serviceable like slasher film, but it focused on gore, where this movie had barely any. So it kind of took me out of it in that regard. I was going to review all of the first movies and trilogies, because there was another one like 6 years ago that was literally just called Texas Chainsaw. Like, they took "the" and "Massacre" out of the title. It's just called Texas Chainsaw, and the movie is just as shallow as the name is. It's bad. But there's so many iconic scenes in this movie that as I was watching it, which just flooded back to me. Particularly when the first female victim actually escapes from the house and Leatherface grabs her and pulls her back in. I see that gift everywhere. And it should, I mean, it's insanely iconic. It's really scary because you think she gets away and she just doesn't. And then she's the one that gets meat hooked, which is also very iconic. But again, you see her go up, and then you see her being on a hook. You do not see Hook go in. There's no excessive, explicit gore or violence like that, and I can't stress that enough. I really feel like this movie could be like the gateway horror movie. Like, you could, if you have a friend that wants to get into horror but hasn't, you could be like, well, let's watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You'll be okay. It's free on Prime with ads. That's how we watched it. I hate streaming on Prime. I think it's one of the worst streaming services out there, but it's on there and it was free. I cannot stress enough how great this movie is, and I cannot recommend it enough. I'm going to rank these out of 10, and the original Tobe Hooper Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets an easy 10 out of 10 from me. I mean, taking nostalgia out of it, taking how early I saw this out of it. Because I literally just watched it again and had a blast. It's short, but it doesn't feel short in the best way. Like, that movie feels like it takes forever because it's one girl going through an absolute night of hell. And you kind of just feel like you're stuck there all night with her. And for a movie as cheaply made as this to do that, that's incredible. So, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, easy 10 out of 10. So, join me for night 2 tomorrow night, guys. I don't know what I'm reviewing yet. I'm probably going to try to be spontaneous with my picks. If there's something I really want to watch, I'll let you know the night before that that's what we're going to watch the next day. Or if anybody has any suggestions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. And if I can watch them, I will. I'm gonna sprinkle in horror reviews throughout the year, but I'm really going to try to get a horror movie review up every day in October, whether they're only 5 minutes or if they go up to 15 or 20 minutes if I have a lot to say. With this, I'm basically wrapped up. It's amazing. It's full throttle the whole way through. And yeah, give it a watch if you haven't already seen it. So, for the final time, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 10 out of 10. So until next time, guys, peace.